weeks ago, I did a review on the Liberty Walk Aventador by AUTOart in Oxford White. When I finished that video, I placed the model next to another Aventador Liberty Walk. This one is in silver, and this one is actually made by the company Liberty Walk. Yes, if you didn't know, the company that adds wide fenders and other aftermarket accessories to exotic cars does make models. The biggest difference is their models are resin and sealed, so there's no opening parts. This has been an ongoing question of resin models versus full opening models, and it wasn't until AUTOart started making their models in that ABS plastic that most of the time, and I mean most of the time, the resin model, in my opinion, was the better shaped model, and it had the better details on the outside anyway, and then sometimes in the inside, depending on what company we're talking about. So today I want to do a comparison of a sealed resin model and a fully opening model of the same car. The only difference is the colors, but other than that, they are exactly the same car. So enough of me talking about it. Let's get into the comparison.
What you see here is the Lamborghini Aventador Liberty Walk or LB Works version 2017. And this is produced by Liberty Walk, or should I say sanctioned by Liberty Walk. So Liberty Walk actually makes models. So again, I'm not suggesting that you go to the Liberty Walk factory and you actually see them making the parts or making these models. And I've not found in my research as of yet who actually makes these for Liberty Walk. But they do have their hand in the design of this. In other words, Kato-san, the creator of the Liberty Walk business, had his hand in making these models. In other words, he approved them. So, yes, you could actually say this is an official Liberty Walk piece. And that's what makes this so special, is that it is a piece that's actually done by the company who makes the actual cars. So you can imagine the owners who own like this specific car, for example, more than likely have this version of the model. This is a limited model, and it's very limited. It's 12. This is number 12 out of 30. So they produced only 30 of these. Now, some of the details that I really enjoy about this model, and I will talk about some of the hits and the misses with it as well, is one, the wheel detail is absolutely fantastic. These are the Forged Star rims, and the print on it is very nice and clear. You can see the scripting on the tires is present. The brake calipers are fantastic. The carbon ceramic disc in the back is very nicely, accurately done. The print, all of it is very clear and concise, as you can see. This is a sealed model, which means that the doors do not open, the trunk doesn't open, and the hood. Okay, so none of these, it's a non-opening model. The trim pieces. This is accurate, whereas this is gloss black. It should not be a carbon fiber piece. I thought it should have been, but when I looked at the actual real car, it's not. So this is it could be carbon fiber, but it's painted black, and then it has a clear coat on it. And as you can see, it does have a nice shine to it. So that's very nice. The piece that goes, this trim piece here, that is carbon fiber, and it's very nicely done. It's nice and sharp. Something I didn't mention about the wheels. So the Forged Star wheels are actually a satin black. This is more of a gloss. I'm not sure why that choice was made. So that is off, but I almost think they probably did this because when they were making this model, they probably thought that this looked better. And I'm very happy with it. I'm not sure how I would have felt about it being satin. Now, me being one who likes models to be very accurate, I am willing to admit that that is off, but in this case, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Moving on to the front of the model, there is a perforated grille here, so that's very nicely done. You should be able to see it in another shot, but it is a perforated grille. Look at the headlights. Those things are staring right back at you. They're very clean, very straightforward. I guess the theme of this review of this particular model is that it's just so clean. It's just very clean and concise. When you see the top view, I'll gladly point out some of the carbon fiber pieces as well that I'm seeing here. This is a flat paint, by the way, as you can see. And it's a flat metallic paint. And there's no issues with that. It's very clean. I don't see any marks on it. Moving on to the back, you have your perforated grills there. You have your 4 exhaust outlets. They're all flat black. I think in a different version, i.e. AUTOart, they're actually metal. So not sure which one is more accurate when it comes to that. But they don't look bad. I'm not suggesting it at all. And I have seen metal exhausts that are black, but it's just something I wanted to point out. The lenses, well, they're dark, they're blacked out, so you can't see too much from them, but they look very good. There's no complaints there. Again, the scripting, the letter, the Lamborghini is very nicely done. It's not crooked or off or anything, and you can actually clearly read that. So let's move on to the interior.
Because this is a sealed model, you can't see the full interior like you would obviously an open model. But from what I can see is that, well, the interior looks actually really good. If you're going to compare this to an AUTOart, it's pretty nice. Something that I am going to point out is a small miss, but it is a miss, is that if you look at the steering wheel, it has the Lamborghini symbol on it, but it's a decal. So that's somewhat of a miss there when comparing the two. If you look a little further down, you can see the foot pedals. The seats are pretty decent. They included a pattern of threading on the seats, or stitching I should say, which is right there. It's just a simple mold pattern. But the interior looks really good. It doesn't look like a cheap plastic interior, which is a good thing. The console itself is pretty decent. It has, you know, different colors, different textures, and raised parts that make it look as if the buttons actually work. I really like the dashboard. I like the gauges that are on there. That looks pretty good. The door card is pretty accurate. The door handle, I believe, should be carbon fiber. There could be an optioned feature that you could order on the real car, not sure. The AUTOart version is carbon fiber. There is a seat belt, as you can see, hanging off the door there, and it is a soft material, so that's pretty nice. Now, when I did the review of the AUTOart version of this car, the one thing that I noticed right away was the strut bar. The strut bar should be a metallic color, and as you can see as I'm moving back and forth, that's what a metallic paint should look like. It has reflection, right? Now the motor itself is actually extremely detailed for a resin model. It's very different than the AUTOarts. But there is nice detail in there. You see some hoses, clamps, wiring. You see the scripting on the intakes for Lamborghini. It's very nice. Your cap is labeled. You see that V12 on there. You have the springs. So it's not bad. AUTOart has this back section that would have a perforated grille over it. This does as well, as you can see. So they did include that. So that's very nice. I really like the center of the motor. So the cover and that nice metallic paint. Yeah, that's very nicely done. So that's your motor. Move on to the top view. And with the top view, I just wanted to show you the paint first of all. And this is a flat satin paint, and it's very, very well done. There's no marks, swirl marks or anything like that on it. The hood with the carbon fiber, which is one of the best things I think on the exterior, is how well done that carbon fiber is. Looks like the real thing. Look at that. That is definitely a huge hit. The back wing as well has the same thing. As you can see, this does come on a base, and the base has the Liberty Walk label on there, and then again, this is the limited edition 12 of 30. I also like the trim piece that's on the dashboard. You have the carbon fiber over the gauge cluster.
There are definitely some differences in these two. So I mentioned earlier, so the AUTOart has the more flat or satin rims, the Ford Star, and then you have the Liberty Walk version. And I'm definitely going to give a more of a win to the Liberty Walk. Personally, I think that just looks better. The other thing I found interesting is that the concaveness, the depth of the rim itself. It's like the Liberty Walk is a little more deep when it comes to that. I think that's a little more accurate, because Liberty Walk definitely uses some of the most concave wheels that you can find, and that definitely stands out a little bit better. Let's go back to the AUTOart. The AUTOart's not that bad. It's just, again, when we're talking about accuracy, yeah, that just, yeah, the Liberty Walk just stands out a little bit better. Now, for the rear of the cars, they almost look identical. They both have the perforated grills there. The AUTOart has a little more detail when it comes to the radiators that are hiding behind that. So that's a little bit better. I'm not going to compare the lights because the gray one definitely has the darker shaded lights, which is actually more accurate to that particular one. I cannot speak for the white version. I don't know that. The exhaust outlets to me look a little bit better on the AUTOart. Not by much. I'll lighten this up a little bit. The overall shape of both of these is spot on. So there's no complaints there. Let's just move to the top view. The hood on the AUTOart is a flat color, whereas the Liberty Walk is a more glossy color that's more accurate. So
So you can see there's some additional trim piece that's on the dashboard of the Liberty Walk versus the AUTOart, which actually has the trim piece, but it's just a molded gray color. Whereas again, the AUTOart, or not the AUTOart, the Liberty Walk actually has that nice photo etched trim piece. The gauge cluster, again, AUTOart's using the Barago technique of carbon fiber inside. The Liberty Walk chose to use more of a flat carbon. That's actually accurate. Just going back to the engine compartment. Here's AUTOart's with that not so great strut bar or brace. And then there's the Liberty Walk. Okay, let's just move on to my conclusions. My final thoughts on these two models are this. Both of these models are fantastic. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. The obvious weakness from the Liberty Walk model is the fact that it is sealed and it doesn't have any opening parts. The strength of the Resin model is the fact that the overall details are just phenomenal. It is a great looking model. When I placed both models next to each other, both of them closed, hands down, I would have to say that the Liberty Walk version does look better than the AUTOart version. Now, if you've never knew that Liberty Walk existed, AUTOart is the best thing out there, by far. There's no doubt about it. Now, the strengths of the AUTOart are obvious too. It's an opening model. And since they went to that ABS composite material, the shut lines on the AUTOarts have been phenomenal. They look great. You don't have that concern like you used to with die-cast metal models, in that as time went by and those parts were open and closed, they start to get loose, they started to get misaligned and things like that. You don't have that issue with the new AUTOarts with that not resin, but that composite material. The overall look of both models, again, are great. The AUTOart does look great. It doesn't have that beautiful glossy carbon fiber hood like the Liberty Walk does, so that's definitely a misstep there. The scripting is missing on the tires, which it should be there, and it's not. The rims themselves, they do look plastic. It's supposed to be a satin color, and I don't think AUTOart really accomplished that with the look of those rims. So it is more of a plastic look as opposed to a satin painted wheel, so that's a misstep as well. But other than that, they're great models. Which one would you get? Well, if you could only get one model, I would definitely get the AUTOart. The AUTOart, like I said, looks spectacular and it's fully opening. I mean, that alone is enough for me to pick the AUTOart over the sealed Resin model. But if I had the opportunity to get two models, I would get one, the Liberty Walk, and the opening AUTOart. The reason why I would do that is because this is my taste in how I like to display models. When you are displaying up to 60 to 70 models like I am, I have a lot of guests that come over and they look at the models, they're really fascinated by them. And one thing I really don't like doing is well, this opens, you're letting them know that the model opens, right? And then you open the parts and then you get wowed by that. I'd much rather instead have the same car that has the doors open, because Lamborghini obviously has the cool opening Lambo doors, and one sealed that they can see what it looks like when it's closed. So I like to display those next to each other that way. Now, if it was a traditional model with the normal opening doors, no, I wouldn't get two of those. To me, that's, I don't know. To me, that's ridiculous. I wouldn't do that. But again, when it's a model that has unique openings, I really love to display it with the model open. So again, I think that's a really cool effect. The Pagani is a really great example of that. That model, if you have the Huayra, you have both the front, the back that opens, as well as the go-wing door. So obviously that's a really cool look. But again, if I have two versions of that, well, I can display one that's closed so the viewer or person who's watching, looking at this, can see what it looks like closed as well as seeing it open. That's the only reason why I'd have two, if you can do that thing. The last thing, value appreciation, if that's something that you're into. As far as value appreciation, I'm getting both of these to 3. dollar signs. Some might argue that the Resin Liberty Walk would actually have a higher value in time, which is possible. And the only reason being is that there's only 30 of those made, and the fact that it is actually a product by Liberty Walk. It comes with a card signed by Keto-san. And it also comes with a plexiglass cover. So there is a lot that you get for that model, and we can't forget it's on a base, and it also has a plaque as well. The AUTOart came in a styrofoam box, and here you are. So I mean, and I believe that one is limited, but they don't even specify how many that's limited to. It's definitely more than 30. So that is something to take into consideration, but I still believe in time. Again, I think both of them would appreciate about the same rate. So you really can't lose it either way. Please like and subscribe. That is the best way I'm going to know you're enjoying these videos. Those who are wondering what happened to part 2 to my top speed videos, that is coming up next week, so look for that. Thank you for watching. See you next time.